everybody, Dadman Walkie 55 here, coming to you from the great old East Coast, 2 minutes after 9 on another big, wonderful week in the world of sports. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the rest of the gang here in no particular order, but we'll be ladies first. We'll be good old gentlemen. The great SciFi Mombie. How are you, SciFi, tonight?
I'm good.
Good to see you. And we got Woopah Troopah. Woopah.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop. And the great JT Kirk himself. Howdy, folks. Hell. All right. Well, folks, it's been an interesting time in the world of sports. We're coming up on the Super Bowl this week. We survived the Pro Bowl last weekend. Did anybody watch that by the way?
Nope. Completely forgot it was on, to be honest.
Yeah,
that was okay.
I think I was out of town.
Only thing I noticed is they had a quarterback accuracy competition, and the winner was Dan Orlovsky.
What?
Yeah, he came from the booth.
He's still a quarterback?
No, he's not. He came from the booth
Wow.
and beat every actual quarterback in the booth.
That is crazy, though.
It was pretty funny.
That is insane for a retired guy to come in and win. I was like JT Kirk. What? He's still playing? I didn't think he was playing.
I thought he was done. And not recently
you were
either.
Correct. You would be correct, but apparently maybe he's still got some juice in him.
Well, okay.
That is just insane. But it is insane. So golly. Well, now you know. Hey, there's hope for us yet, Woopah Troopah. We might be able to make a roster somewhere. At least a glorified skill competition and make a few $1,000.
Hey, the Battlehawks need a quarterback. We'll take them.
Well, hey, maybe you'll be the Battlehawks quarterback this season.
I don't think that'll go very well for the team, but I can give it a shot.
Mark my words, that league could be huge. In 10 years, people could be talking, NFL versus, what is it they calling it now? The USL? The UFL? USFL?
No, just the UFL.
Okay.
See, I wish they'd have kept the USFL name. I always liked the USFL, especially with having some of their teams. I think they should have kept one of the league's names. I don't like what they did with kind of split combining the names, but it's I don't know. What actually started with the XFL broadcast last year while we did a show, I approached Woopah Troopah about it because Rambling Canuck had actually said something to me. He's like, "Dad, man, you do football. You like football. You need to do this and jump on it. People will like it." And when I kind of looked around and Woopah Troopah's out there, and Woopah was like, "Yeah, I'm a season ticket holder." So and we had spring football. So,
and I just looked today. You can put down a $50 deposit for the Detroit team, and then tickets start for the whole season at $100.
Whoa!
For five home games. I mean, I'm sure that's nosebleed.
100 for 5 home
Ford
games?
Field.
That's very good.
Yeah, $20 a game.
Field? Damn, I'm
starting at $20 a game. I'm sitting here going,
I wish they had one here. See, that's the problem. If the NFL was affordable like that, or even college bowl games, I'd go to a game at a drop of a hat, even for teams I don't like, if it was not so expensive. I mean, you got to pay $10 or $20 to park. $10 these days is a bargain for parking. 50 to park. See, it's
Oh, jeez.
I mean, that's just not even getting out of the car, It's like I'd tell actually I'd offered the missus a few times, but we kind of took the bus. We had a good transit thing down there that you could park and ride in that was very cheap. But I'm like, hell, screw Uber. I'll pay the missus $30 to drive me downtown and drop me off, So keep the money in the family. But geez, $50? Wow.
Yeah,
is that for NFL games or?
Yeah.
Any events?
I paid that for the Last Lions home game against Atlanta that I went to back in October. So I mean, they were not even like the whole playoff race hadn't even started yet.
Mm-hmm.
and it was that much.
Hmm. So what's it like? What's it like going to a Detroit game? How? I mean, so you obviously you went this season, so it was actually well attended because they were good.
So a lot of it is getting there is half the problem. Almost, I mean, Detroit used to have a population of 3 million people back at the end of the 50s, early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like 650,000, but the metro area is probably 6.5, 7 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 10 million for the whole state. So everybody has to drive in. So you really have a busy highway set up, and then everybody has to have a parking space. There is public transportation in the way of a city bus, but you're not going to take that from 30 miles away, right? And then they have some little boondoggle people mover project that doesn't go anywhere important. So, tailgating isn't, I mean, it exists, but it isn't what it could be. It isn't what you see at college games or some other NFL games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But right around the stadium is hard to get a parking space because they put Little Caesars Arena, which is where the Red Wings and the Pistons play.
Right.
And then right next to it is Comerica Park, where the Tigers play. And yeah, there's some parking garages and things, but stadiums kind of clog it all up. So,
Harry, have you ever tried to get out of a parking garage after a game?
oh, jeez.
God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it, parking's at a real premium, but once you get in there, Ford Field's pretty nice as far as things go. I don't have a good other NFL stadium to really compare it to.
Well, it's definitely not like it is down here where, I mean, the NFL games, people still down here, it's a tradition, whether it's college or pro football. Tailgating is a part of the game and stuff. Is it something more because of the weather? Or is it cultural up there?
No, it's just, I mean, are you going to really want to tailgate in a parking garage? I don't. A lot of the other parking is lots, like dirt lots in the city where they tore down a building, and a valet parks your car, and they park it so close you better have, paint insurance on your vehicle because you're going to get dinged with that. So you're not tailgating in any of those lots. You go to a restaurant or something. I mean, also the history of the city has been one where it hasn't always been the safest. Game day, usually the whole police department comes out now, so it's not too bad. But it's just not really set up for it in a way that I feel like other cities might be. So, but you do see it; it does exist. Just not tremendously. Now, Michigan State or Michigan, it's tailgating everywhere, anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. So a difference between the college game and the pro games?
Oh yeah. The college game is serious tailgate, but they're set up for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is very interesting to see that there is at least that difference. Down here, it's not. You can't tell difference in college and NFL games with attendees.
So Jacksonville has a pretty good tailgate scene then?
Yeah, okay. Everybody. You can just watch it when they show it on network, how they lay out and how everything's down around there. Even Tampa Bay, Miami, they all cook out down here. They all have the regular tailgating like you would see in a college game. It's kind of like the college part came into the NFL down here. They morph here. That part of the college game did come into the NFL, which is kind of good now. Which the NFL college games, which we may be talking about in the next few weeks coming up, is starting to morph into something completely new. Without going too far into it tonight, we there's a case that just was handed down where Dartmouth College players are now considered to be employees. So
really, wow.
Yes, I think there's been
of that case yet.
There's been it's kind of not changing everything nationwide yet. There's also a lawsuit involving University of Tennessee with something that looks like that they may prevail, and there's a temporary hold on it. I heard today some about it on WNML, Sports Animal in Knoxville. I need to take a look at it. So we got some topics coming up next few weeks, coming down that this case may also threaten the NCAA's existence. What would the NCAA look like? Is it going to go forward in a sort of form, be more menial to everybody, or are we going to have one big super conference, of people and then all the have-nots? If you go back a couple months ago, Culture Casino and I had a stream where we talked about the business side of college football, and it was like the transfer portals, the NILs, all this stuff that's affecting college football. And then we saw it in the college playoff games. I mean, FSU had 23 players off its roster not playing, 9 sitting out for the NFL, which you could to some degree, but 13 were transfers. 13 players opted out because they were going to go somewhere the next season. And
they got shafted, in my opinion, pretty bad on the playoff berth. So why would you play? Protest them.
Protest.
Yeah.
But hey, so there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. We're also got stuff coming up down the road. We're approaching the pitchers and catchers have reported in Major League Baseball. So we got that's happening. It's coming. Mark D with a C is here. Sports ball.
Hey, hail Mark.
Whoa.
Hope you're feeling better, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got hockey coming down the back part of the season. So we'll get ready. We got some plans starting in March. We'll tell you more about them later. And we're going to get out into some more sports and sport news and really have fun with us going forward. So, folks, love having these 3 guys with us. And Clobby Times is on another stream at the moment. He's supposed to be coming through it a little bit. Drinking lots of OJ.
The football player? Okay.
Are you drinking out of a Ford Bronco? White Ford Bronco?
I just wrapped up watching Ted again, and that is at the end of the season. So spoiler alert.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, we killed some time. Here he is. The man himself is the great Clobber in Times. Hey, Clobby.
Hey, dude. I'm so sorry for holding everybody up.
Oh, no. We were actually spending some time. It doesn't look like we have many people here with us right now. We were kind of just getting familiar with some stuff that we're going to do down the road and talking about tailgating. And JT was telling us about how tailgating is non-existent up there at the Detroit Lions games. And
really,
it's
That's
a different
sad.
feel from the college games. So
it's just the layout of the city. And, if you drive down there for 45 minutes and your choice is tailgate in a parking lot or a parking structure, it just you don't have the space for it. It's usually pretty miserable with the weather, and there's usually a lot of drinking going on. So are you really going to drink and then go to the game and then drive home 45 minutes? Doesn't sound like a day I want to do.
That's a quitter mentality right there, JT.
Well, maybe that's why they didn't go to the Super Bowl, because my tailgate game isn't up there.
That's what I always, and not to spoil the Woopah Troopah secret, I just always load up on 3 or 4 shots before the game, and then I take a public transit in. So then by the time you get back to your car, you're pretty much sobered up.
yeah. Well,
hey. My nephews and a lot of their friends, they're like major, big time, hardcore tailgaters. For a noontime Saints game, they'll get to the Superdome. They have a reserved area and everything out there in this big parking lot that hangs right next to it. And they'll put up tents. They'll bring their trucks up there. They'll get 6 in the morning. They'll get there for a noon game. And by the way, if it's a nighttime game, they'll still get there at 7 or 8 in the morning, whatever. They'll just hang out there all day. And just big times, bring everything. I've of course been out there with them many times, and it's a lot of fun. And it gets crowded around that Superdome for tailgating and all that stuff. It's just, it's built for it. They have like a gigantic platform. I don't know if you've ever been to the Superdome, but it's a lot of space for that sort of thing. Even though it is downtown, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, see, Clobby, and I was saying that Comerica Park, where the Tigers play, and then Little Caesars Arena, where the Pistons and Red Wings play, are both like almost right on top of them. So, I mean, you get crowded out for parking, you get crowded out for tailgating, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and so the few restaurants that do get in there are always swamped, but the tailgate game is much, much better for Michigan and Michigan State. You know, the college tailgates are phenomenal up there, but yeah, just not for the Lions.
I've only been tailgating for 2 away games, a Carolina game and an Atlanta game, and they had they still tailgate a pretty good bit. It was just a little different. Most of them were little far off from the stadium because the stadium wasn't really built for it.
The only time, well, I've tailgated a couple times as well. The one time I went to Ann Arbor, you know, horrible color scheme out that way.
Yeah,
I was talking to my friends on the sidewalk and looking the other way, wasn't watching where I was walking, and I actually bumped into my senator, my
Wow.
U.S. senator.
Oh
I
God!
felt so
How
bad.
the heck?
I don't know.
Where
My
was
friend just
security?
turned. Well, you know, my friend like turned sheet white, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Do you know who you just bumped into?" I'm like, "No, who?"
One of those moments
Anyway.
from Last Crusade. Yes.
Yeah.
Stunning Braves here. Hey, Stunning and Brave. Good to see you. Super Bowl stole
Hey.
Chuck Norris's kitchenware. All right. Well, good to see you. Well, how did we get here? Where are we sitting at? We are sitting at Super Bowl week coming up. The Chiefs and the 49ers, not very surprising, and a matchup everybody saw coming. Some have built conspiracy theories around, especially with officiating and the game last week of the Chiefs and the Ravens. How they got here, Sunday, January 28th. The Chiefs outlasted the Ravens in a good defensive struggle, 17-10. Chiefs go on the road, but the Ravens seem to self-destruct between penalties, turnovers, and really mediocre quarterback play. Solid defensive effort, holding the Chiefs scoreless in the second half, but not enough to take down the Chiefs, who won 2 games on the road to make it to the Super Bowl. Then the other matchup was really a tale of 2 games. I was actually watching the Detroit dominate San Francisco 24-7 at the half, turned around to go on a stream, and hey, CLS, good to see you as always. Hey, you stick with us. We'll like sports. We have a way of wearing it on people. I literally sat here. It's 24-7 at halftime. I got on a stream that was to that night to talk about history. When I turned around after the stream was over, I literally turned around. There's 30 seconds left, and I saw 34-31. I'm like, what happened? What happened? And probably one of the greatest championship game rallies. Probably we've seen it in other games, like the old Buffalo comeback over Houston many years ago. But in an NFC championship game, I don't remember this kind of a really choke. JT, I hope I'm not using a harsh word there, but
that's exactly what it was. I mean, a textbook. You could put that in the dictionary for choke.
I don't know that I've ever seen a choke like that in a championship game. Offhand, I'm sure. Clobby, have you seen one, or Woopah?
Go ahead, Woopah. Woopah, you there?
You there, Woopah?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, yes, you.
Yeah, we're just trying to see if anybody can remember a choke like that. What we saw in the Lions 49ers game that we saw in a championship game. We've seen it in some of the wild card rounds, divisional rounds, but to have such a lead where you felt like the game was over at halftime, and then just a complete different second half.
Not that I can remember in the conference championship, at least.
Yeah, I mean, Clobby, can you think of anything? I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it happened to be one of the greatest things that ever happened to me.
Okay.
Because today, it dovetails into today. I digress a little bit, but yesterday, of course, was 30 years to the day of passing. This is comic stuff, but my amazing idol of all, the great Jack Kirby, the king of comics,
Mhm.
passed away 30 years ago yesterday. And I remember getting a call the day that it happened, but this is a sports show. But one thing about that is that being one of the saddest days of my life. Today marks the 14th anniversary. One of the happiest days of my life was when my New Orleans Saints became world champions.
Mm.
The game that got them there is probably one of your biggest chokes of all time. Not the same type of what happened in San Francisco, but Mr. Super Bowl killer himself, Brett Favre, who cost himself no less than 3 trips to a Super Bowl with an interception. We had a great season in 2009. We had even played well in our first playoff game, beating the crap out of the Cardinals and Kurt Warner. And then when we went in there, I remember, and I tell the story a lot of people just kind of just laugh at it, I guess. But I remember when Favre left the Jets after 1 year and went to the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember seeing that and going, I don't know why, but that's going to be good for us somehow. I'm not sure why. I don't know why. It feels weird. I'm not kidding. At the beginning of the season, it felt, I don't know how to put it into words, but like that was going to be something for us. Like they weren't even on our schedule that year.
Yeah,
so
I was so happy when he left Green Bay, Clobby.
Really?
And then when he came
I can imagine. Back to your division.
Like, can we just not get rid of this guy? Like, what is it with him in
crazy.
the NFC?
Right. So, but he takes over the Vikings, a team I never could stand. And you don't like him because they're in your division.
Well, yeah.
Well, that game in the NFC, we played very well, like I said, in the playoff game before that. In the NFC Championship game, we turned on the ball over like something like 5 times. We played like garbage, deserved to lose the game. And all Brett Favre has to do is either, if he doesn't make a first down on that one, take a knee, they try a long field goal. It's not quite as bad a choke job that was done as far as points are anywhere close to the points that was done last week. But nevertheless, he throws an interception to Tracy Porter that was one of the worst. Wow. It was astonishingly bad. Right to him, dude. Right to him. And it's Favre being Favre. There's an old saying in football, you live by the gunslinger, you die by the gunslinger. And this is his 3rd time he's cost a team a sure-on Super Bowl appearance if he just doesn't throw an interception. And so that was, and of course we got it. We had the famous call by our famous play-by-play guy on the radio, Jim Henderson, is when Garrett Hartley makes the field goal that wins the game for us. He says, he's yelling at the top of his lungs, I'm not going to do that, but he says, pigs have flown, hell is frozen over, and the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. Whoa. And then 2 weeks later, Peyton Manning throws a pretty bad interception in the game where we pretty much got the lead anyway, and makes it one of the happiest days of my life. So I just wanted to note that, because when your team just did something you never thought you'd live to see, it's pretty amazing. And I'm never going to see another one, let's just be honest. But I got the one.
There you go.
You only want that one. You love more. But we can't all be the Patriots and now the Chiefs, but you can get one. So that would be as big one of the bigger NFC champ or conference championship chokes ever. But if I went back and thought about it for a while, I could probably think of some more.
All right. Well, this is how we got here. Brock Purdy, actually, Mr. Irrelevant, comes in. There were some questions about him. Has rallied the team from behind 2 weeks in a row to wins, which was a big criticism of his. Kansas City to me has been one of those dark horse teams. Well, Kansas City reminds me a lot of Alabama, and although Alabama didn't win the national title this year, a lot of people try to write them off really early in the season. I felt
that was me. That was totally me.
Yeah, but you can see it.
A lot.
But I kind of think that with the Chiefs, I think everybody's looking to see dissension or the Swifty, all this stuff that, but I tell you what's held the team together, even though he's lost his cool at times, is Patrick Mahomes. Today, Patrick Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowl titles. If he wins Sunday, it will be his 3rd Super Bowl title, which will put him in the top 5 of quarterbacks with Super Bowl rings, behind Tom Brady with 7, Joe Montana with 4. Montana with 4, Bradshaw with 4, Aikman has 3, and then Mahomes would end up with 3, tied with Aikman. Then, SciFi Mombie, what is it like as a KC fan with a quarterback that is still young enough, he could be Tom Brady-ish by the time his career's over.
It's actually really exciting to have, excuse me, that kind of talent sitting in Kansas City right now, because we waited for a very long time. Um, the Rams left Missouri and they were our Super Bowl team. And then we sat there for years, like we'd hit the playoffs, we'd hit the divisionals, and we just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And our good quarterbacks would leave, and, they just couldn't find the right coach. And now it seems like it's all come together now and coalesced. And maybe we can go for more than a dynasty. That would be great.
Yeah, it really centers around the quarterbacks. Defense. The old adage was always defense wins championships, but I think we've seen enough cases where
Not
you can
anymore.
have all the. Yeah, go ahead, Clobby. What do you think? I mean, so it's the day and age of the quarterback, right?
Well, it's always been kind of a myth that defenses win championships. I mean, there's truth to it, but you can see some of your great big champions teams. There have been a lot of times where some championship teams had, good defenses, but not like the best in the league or anything. But if they have the high-powered offense, that's doubly true now. However, I think now you still have to have you got to get close to at least a top 10 defense. It certainly helps. But if you have like I said, this is an offensive game. It is a quarterback's game, even more than ever. It's always, at least since about the 50s and 60s, has been one, but now even more so. And I just say that Mahomes is, I don't know if he'll get as many as Brady, but he has a good chance to get a handful of them. And there's no question about that. So he's great. And I know the Bears are not happy with themselves because they passed on him. They're not the only one.
Yeah, a lot of people.
They picked Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. Okay, guys, but can you imagine? Because all of our teams have done that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They pass on one guy and they go on and boom, you're like, oh god.
Oh, that's happened to me so many times, Clobby. It's not even funny.
Oh, by the way, JT, I got to tell you something. Happy birthday to Matthew Stafford. It was on the Mrs. show today.
Lord.
The Mrs. showed that birthday today. I had to tell her. I had to tell you. Oh.
Yeah, Mrs. Stafford's probably still crying that they didn't, treat her like the Queen of England when she showed up. She was complaining about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Well, coming into this game, Kansas City ended up the regular season 11-6. They beat the Dolphins, the Bills, and and now the blah 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 blah. The Ravens. They actually win 3 games to advance to the Super Bowl. They ended up with a 77-point differential, scoring 371 while giving up 294 points. One of the top defenses in the AFC. Actually, believe it or not, Kansas City was 5-4 at home this year, but 6-2 on the road. Really kind of deceiving. Yeah. You would think that they would be a better home team than that.
Well, and normally we are, and this was the weird year, I call it, because everybody was saying, "Oh, well, Mahomes is terrible on the road. He's not going to win any anything on the road in the playoffs," and he proved them all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like you were saying, they came back with the Taylor Swift nonsense, and Patrick Mahomes is yelling at everybody. I mean, it was just like trying to find every excuse why the Chiefs shouldn't go back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and actually the Chiefs ended up 9-3 against AFC competition, which means they were 2-3 against the NFC. Kansas City lost at home to Detroit. They they lost at home to Detroit. They won at home to the Bears 41-10. They won at Minnesota 27-20. They lost to Philadelphia at home 21-17, and they lost at Green Bay 27-19. So they've had a mixed record this year, home and road, against the NFC. So that's the hard part. Can you make just This little stats out there, folks. Once the playoffs, all bets are off. But just some of the numbers with Kansas City coming in with this. We're going to look at the injury report in just a minute. But now the San Francisco 49ers had the bye in the NFC. They went 12-5 overall. They were only 5-3 at home. I mean, look at that. The Cowboys 8-0 at home, gone in the first round. San Francisco 5-3 at home, but 7-2 on the road. 5-1 their own division. They were 10-2 in their conference. Also putting them 2-3 against the AFC. San Francisco had the most points, the second most points scored in the NFC behind the Dallas Cowboys with 491, but they only gave up 298 points overall, being the NFC's stingiest defense for a 193-point differential. On the year, in terms of the matchups with the AFC, San Francisco won at Pittsburgh 30-7. They lost at Cleveland 19-17. Then they lost at Cincinnati, or at home to Cincinnati 31-17. Then they lost at home to Baltimore 33-19. And I'm trying to find that's a preseason game. And they beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville 34-3. So that is the matchup. That is the results from the San Francisco 49ers matchup with the AFC this year. Woopah, any thoughts on this original matchup? Then I'm going to go around the horn. Woopah, SciFi, JT, and then Clobby in that order. What do you see this matchup coming up this week?
I think I really see there's two teams that are pretty similar, all things considered. They both the only thing that I think is different is I think 49ers have more weapons. Like, you're talking about two teams that have a pretty good defense, some of the best in the league. Both of those, I think, is really punctuated by their defensive line. Chiefs defensive line and 49ers defensive line are both very good. And I think that's going to be really interesting how that goes, because if you look at when the Chiefs kind of controlled all of their games with their defense, the 49ers, which had a really good regular season defense, hasn't been the best playoff defense, but they've been able to overcome all of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I think that's going to be a big thing, especially the Chiefs D line versus the 49ers O line is going to be a big matchup there for sure.
SciFi Mombie, what do you think?
I agree with Woopah about both teams have really good defenses. I think it's going to come down to, will they have Travis Kelce's number? Because, I mean, we don't have the backup like we used to with, like, Tyreek Hill and, what was it, Edwards-Helaire. We have him, but he's not as potent as he used to be. What's the new kid's name? Pacheco. That's what I'm thinking of. And we have to quit dropping the ball.
Mm-hmm. The drops, yes.
Yeah.
The drops have
Gotta
ruined
stop
many
the
teams.
drops. Yes, gotta pay attention. Yeah.
All right, JT, how do you see this? What are your key matchups, or how do you see this game?
I see this game, and I hope it doesn't happen this way, but I'm scared that it will be. It'll be a messy game with the offenses making tons of mistakes against strong defense. These teams do not have the most beautiful offenses around. In fact, the Chiefs have been up there for most drop passes in the league, which is not Mahomes' fault. It's, everybody he's been throwing to hasn't been carrying their weight for a lot of the weeks. So I can see that. San Francisco does not play beautiful football, but they just managed to get it done. I think it will also come down to how well these tight ends execute. Both of these teams seem to like And rightfully so, they have good tight ends, but that position seems to get leaned on quite a bit for miracles to happen when they need something really bad to save their butt. So that's how I see it going, but I don't necessarily see this being a very high scoring game. And I'm thinking a lot of 3 and outs.
Okay. All right. Clobby, your thoughts? How do you think this game may proceed? We'll hold off on our picks for now, but.
Yeah, I agree with JT on that. I see a bit of again, it could be a sloppy game. Both teams have been a little sloppy, especially the Chiefs with the drops, as SciFi Mombie was talking about. The drops have been horrific for them. And just this has been it's been kind of a weird, sloppy year for them, which really tells me that I've seen this before where teams that are usually like juggernauts or like really, usually they dominate and they'll come out and have kind of a sloppy year. They'll mess around. They'll lose one that you think they shouldn't. You think they'll come off like a monstrous, like a Super Bowl champion year. And then you see them playing not so well. You're going to go 9 times out of 10. That means that they're having a Super Bowl slump and they're not going to go. Well, this team played like a team in the Super Bowl slump and then got to the Super Bowl. And once they get there, they know that, wow, we made a lot of mistakes. We could have easily, we were put in a lot of bad positions that we made our own bed sometimes with those. I think they will get it together, and I think they're going to probably go out there and surprise us with a lot less mistake football than we've seen from them this year. And they're probably going to, because the biggest thing, I harp on this all the time, is playoff or postseason or Super Bowl experience. And that Super Bowl experience for this team, they've won. This particular team is 2-3, really 3-3 if you count their earlier Super Bowl from 1970. Is for Super Bowl championships, and it's gonna, they got a quarterback now who is a seasoned big time pro who can step it up in the big games and make the big plays. So I think that the 49ers with their defense, and both these teams have really good defenses, 2 of the best, will hold on. They'll play well. They've got, like JT was talking about, they got a really underrated tight end, I think, in Kittle, and a great running back. So they'll do just enough of that to make this probably a very competitive game going down to the wire. But I think it'll come down to the smarter team, which is Andy Reid is a smart coach. It's going to come down to his smarts and intelligence and his experience, and the more canny quarterback, the more polished quarterback, and when the heat is on, and that's when it counts the most. When the heat is on, it doesn't get any hotter than the Super Bowl. It's going to come down to the guy with the skins on the wall and the guy with the, again, I think the young guy will play well. I don't understand any of this criticism about this kid. This kid has got it, but he won't have quite enough in the guy who's got the skins on the wall and the experience and the intelligence and, is going to be Mahomes, and he'll get it done in a pretty squeaker of a game. One that, neither outcome will surprise me, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs. I know we're not picking yet, but I'm just saying I think they're going to come up with. They've got a little bit more because both teams are fairly evenly matched. If you go down position, and squads, each squad, they're fairly evenly matched that way. So it's going to come down to which quarterback makes the not so much the bad mistakes, but the better decisions, and that's going to be Mahomes.
Yep. I do understand that. As we said, what is out there is that he stands to be on the verge of becoming one of the top 5 Super Bowl quarterbacks of all time when you just look at rings. And what is getting me with him is that it's like this year, it's another case where everybody tried to write the team off. And he had his down moments. He had his moments of struggle, but the great quarterbacks always got knocked down, but they got back up. And they may have bad times in certain parts of games, but they never gave up. They had bad games to see. Seasons looked bleak, but some of those 70s Steelers teams were not that great.
But then they stepped it up at the end, and boom, there you go.
Look at how many times they beat my Cowboys, and it was like
twice.
We were better statistically, and just everything. But it counts and that's to me the mark of the great quarterback is when they win the game. We had that issue about one quarterback. I won't mention their name again, but all this thing about quarterbacks can't play in practice. Well, give me a quarterback that plays the game right in the game and can do things. I know practice is important. What's so sad now, Clobby, is I feel like Allen Iverson nowadays. And Woopah may remember Allen Iverson. Practice. We're talking practice, but
I mean, what is we talking about?
Yeah, I know. It's like
come on, practice.
Yeah, it's like give me the guys that can perform in the real game. Forget the practice quarterbacks, you know. But
yeah, I mean that's exactly right, dude. Look, remember when Montana won that Super Bowl against the Bengals with that last drive right there? You know, Sam Weiss was on the sideline going, "Yeah, I think we left too much time on there for Joe." And that year, the 49ers were 10-6. Okay, they backed into the playoffs. They had to win on the road. And you're like, yeah, they're having an off year. They're not whacking people. They're not dominating people. So, yeah, I think the Bengals, I don't know what the size, and they look strong. I think the Bengals might beat them. He gave Joe just that little bit of a window.
The great quarterbacks know to do it. Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got 8 people with us. Thank y'all for being here. Hit that like button, subscribe. We actually have a new subscriber, Gorilla Man, it's 1975-1. Thank you for the new sub if you're lurking out there. But Maddie's daddy's here. Go local sports team. There you go.
You can tell who subs?
Well, sometimes YouTube tells me, but it depends, I guess, on people's subs. I don't get them all the time, so it's one of the rare ones.
I mean, yeah, you can go into your studio to tell later, but I mean, I'm just talking about right now.
Yeah. Well, no, I got an actual
as far as a new one.
I actually got a notification and just popped it up there. Yeah, it does not happen often, though. That's what's weird.
I've never had that.
Padawannabe, yeah, good to see you tonight. Mahomes' wife is going to try to do something to Taylor for the first time because of the Swifty brawl. I canceled the. Okay, I like that. That sounds pretty good. So there you go. Steve
heard it here first.
Exactly. There you go. Steve said he tried to take up water polo, but couldn't get the horse to say talk about practice. But yeah, so I know Clobby only has, you got about 10 more minutes. We got some time. Let me go through the injury report that we have right now. So those are some of our initial thoughts. I think I agree with you, like with the quarterback. One of the things that I understand about with the teams is how the San Francisco defense is so good, especially across the middle of the field. And to mirror what SciFi Mombie was saying, can they shut Kelsey down? Kelsey had 11 catches against the Ravens. Last year in the playoffs against the Jaguars, he devastated them. Can they slow down Kelsey and make Mahomes go to the other receivers? And will those receivers step up, catch the ball? You know, so that's where I see this. Mark, I've heard that too. It depends on the person's account privacy setting. So, too, we'll talk about, y'all think about some of the great commercials from the past while I talk about the injury report. And see.
Well, I had one more prediction. Sorry, Dadman. Go ahead. My prediction is Taylor Swift will be shown in
47 times
during the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The over under. I'm not quite sure on a number yet, but
we'll set an over under and see what people say.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Kelsey's already said since she won so many Grammys that he's got to bring home some hardware. Just saying.
Wow.
There is on one of those betting apps. There's odds on if Kelsey will propose after the game. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah, he's not wrong. It's pretty. It's a big pool too, isn't it? By now.
Yeah, I gotta imagine. There's a lot of interesting bets.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Gorilla Man 1975-1. Good to see you. Thank you for the subscription too. So,
that's my
we
hubby,
appreciate
by the way.
Oh, it's your hubby? Oh,
yeah, it's my hubby.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you. Noah Gray is one of the tight ends for the Chiefs. All right. Maybe so. Maybe it'll. You know, that's usually what happens sometimes in these Super Bowl games. Some unknown, unexpected player steps up. Clobby will know one that I'm near to my heart. Larry Brown from the Cowboys.
Boy, did he ever.
All those interceptions, returned for touchdowns against Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers. I was happy, got revenge on the Steelers, but
you know, you call them interceptions, Dadman. I call them completions.
Yeah,
I threw him right to him, dude.
I know. And it was like he turned that into a big payday, though.
They should have a statue of Neil O'Donnell out in front of the Dallas Stadium.
Definitely, he deserves one before Jerry Jones does. But
Yes.
I didn't say that, did I?
Oh,
Ooh.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, it is. Anyway.
So those were the
You
worst.
Think about what would have
Yeah.
happened if he would have let Jimmy Johnson become the icon and the head coach. Johnson might have been able to stay a long time, maybe not as long as Landry, but a long time, and people would have endeared themselves to him because they were replacing a legend, and they didn't do it in the best circumstances. But now see what happens. He bought one title with Barry Switzer coming in, and and that was it. So
That was Johnson's team.
I know, I agree. Barry Switzer was just standing there looking around like he did at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So the injury report we have this week, the game is February 11th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Allegiant Stadium in Paradise, Nevada. There's many things going on with what they're doing, knocking down the Tropicana to now make way for the baseball field, but that's something we can talk about down the road. Televised on CBS, the spread 49ers are, I guess, -2. Does that mean they're a 2-point favorite? I don't know how to read them.
Yeah, that means those. Wait, 49ers are -2.
Yeah,
They're favored by 2 points, so it means it's
Okay.
a watch. That's kind of that's like almost a pick'em game, really. I mean,
yeah, that's a coin toss territory right there.
Right.
the total over under is at 47.5. And I'm just presenting these as informational things. We don't
Sure.
betting stuff here. Entry reports for the 49ers. Trent Williams, offensive tackle, is unknown. Entry is rest. Practice status, he did not participate in practice. Kalia Davis, DL, is unknown. Ankle injury, but he had full participation in practice. Eric Armstead, a defensive lineman, unknown. Injury knee, full participation in practice. Ambry Thomas, a cornerback, unknown. Injury ankle, limited participation in practice. Oren Burks, a linebacker, had a shoulder injury, limited participation in practice. And George Kittle, the tight end, injury toe, did not practice in practice. So
He'll
that
play.
looks like,
He'll play. Those things hurt. If you ever get a big toe injury, those things hurt.
Oh, they hurt.
You'd ever think they would.
Oh, they're debilitating. I mean,
Yes.
Ask Mahomes, he'll tell you. He
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
hammer toe. Yeah.
Well, we're talking some physiology right now, Steve. We can find a way to make things you'll understand. It's all good. But, hey, I always appreciate the support, man. Love having you here. And Masters, good to see you, Masters. Your prediction that everything will be wrong, that I say will be wrong, is Pulsar rigged down in Mexico. I'm sorry, that was no clue. That was just channel. I had no clue. Good to see you, Masters.
yeah.
All right. Did y'all hear her?
Yeah, I can hear.
Hey, keep it down in here.
Is
We're
that the
talking
missus?
football. That's a missus playing Destiny. Destiny 2. I'll have to tell her that later, but that's the advantage of a 9,000-foot square house. So, but everybody, there's some missus saying hi to you. All right, Chiefs injuries and Sci-Fi, if you can fill in more here. Drew Tranquil, a linebacker, has a knee injury, but fully participated in practice. Rasheed Rice, a wide receiver, injury ankle, full participation in practice. Richie James Jr., wide receiver, foot injury, still full participation in practice. Oh, God, one of the worst things in Jacksonville Jaguar history. Blaine Gabbert, quarterback. How do you get hurt being the backup quarterback? Oblique.
Wow.
Happens.
I
Why
haven't
did-
even
no
heard
kidding.
this one yet.
Yeah, oblique.
I'd heard that one.
In practice, yeah. He's 18 of 35 this year for 185 yards, 3 interceptions. There's Blaine Gabbert for you. So,
Yeah.
so
They're in trouble if they have to get Blaine Gabbert out there.
God, I'm amazed he's
I mean,
still
you
in the
can
league.
game over that one if he gets out on the field.
First round draft pick. Yeah, got to have a quarterback.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Prince
So it
Tega
sounds like-
Wanago, tackle, unknown injury quad, but he's full participation in practice. Willie Gay Jr., linebacker, neck injury, limited participation in practice. Sky Moore, wide receiver, knee injury, limited participation in practice. Joe Thuney, injury pectoral, did not practice. Charles Omenihu, defensive end, knee injury, did not participate. Isaiah Pacheco, running back, unknown, injury toe, did not participate in practice. Chris Jones, defensive tackle, unknown quad, did not participate in practice. So it looks like
If you believe
Chiefs have
all of
more.
that. If you believe all of that.
If
I
you
mean,
believe it.
But I know that there's a lot of shady dealings in the college injury reports, but aren't there rules about it in the NFL? and fines and disciplines.
There are ways around rules, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no, yeah, I never believe any stupid ass injury report I see in pros.
All right.
I mean, Dadman, there's rules against filming another team's practice, but
yeah.
you know that
That's
one was
true.
hard for Belichick to follow,
Well,
and they
right.
were still allowed to win the Super Bowl
Apparently
anyway.
went to Michigan too, but or something like
Yeah,
that. But
well,
I know that we really limited with Clobby real quick, but because I want to get his pick too with this real quick, Clobby. But did you have a chance to think of any talk about Super Bowl commercials? Do you have any special Super Bowl commercial memories?
There was one that always stands out for me. Well, of course, there were a lot of fun back when they were. They've been good for years, in my opinion. But a few years back, a number of years back, Paul Harvey, remember that great legendary radio voice? He did a voice where he was reading about the American farmer. He did, Paul Harvey.
Right.
If you remember that Super Bowl commercial where he talks about the American farmer,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember it. That's one.
I think I've seen it.
I remember liking that one quite a bit. I couldn't quote it to you or anything like that, but I can say this is Paul Harvey. And now you know the rest of the story. Good day. I miss him.
I love it when you do the voices. We don't even have Beavis. We don't even have Beavis here tonight, so that's. But, yeah.
Let's go. Beavis sucks.
Okay.
It's like, wait a minute. Shut up, my man.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, Clobby, how about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know you got to go in like a couple minutes, so guys, we're going to hold off on our commercials and our picks for a bit, but I want to give Clobby a few minutes here. How do you pick this game going? Do you have a score for it? And if you want to use it in a Beavis and Butthead voice, go ahead. If you want to just talk in your normal voice, fine too. But hey,
Well,
how do you see this game going?
what if I let Howard Cosell do my commentary for
That
me?
would be
Because
fine too.
Maddie's
Yes.
daddy hates it when I do that, but I don't care. He's probably not listening anymore anyway. I have a bad feeling that the San Francisco 49ers are going to find a way. Just kidding. I thought, no, they're not. I believe it's going to be fairly tight, so it would not be there's no outcome of this one that would surprise me. As I like to say, that's not a CYA thing either, because they're time, because if there was, I'd say it.
Yeah.
The only outcome would be a blowout on either side. That would surprise me. I don't think we get looking at a blowout here. Maybe a touchdown win or something here and there, or two maybe, but nothing outrageous. I don't think either one of these teams are going to run away with it. Although if one of them starts turning the ball over a lot, I almost wanted to pick an upset just because, the Brock Purdy story is a really good story. I mean, there's a good human story behind that. And the Chiefs now have become, even though they didn't have the biggest, they weren't destroying everyone this year, they got there, which is amazing considering, I think what SciFi was talking about earlier about the drops and things that are very concerning for a Chiefs fan and for the Chiefs. So there's kind of an irresistible, human story behind the Brock Purdy thing. He was Mr. Irrelevant, last one in the draft. He keeps getting criticized, but all he does is win games. I mean, he doesn't win every game, no one does. But what does he do when he comes out and doesn't have a spectacular game? Then he wins, and he's here. He's in the Super Bowl. He came in off the bench out of nowhere last year and got them close to a Super Bowl. Then got hurt, but he still got them deep in the playoffs, and he's gotten them into a Super Bowl. So there's kind of a magical story there. I can see him having some kind of surprise, shocking the world. But I'm one that still tends to lean towards logic, and my football logic tells me that when it comes down to it, and because Brock will give a pretty good fight and will, in the end, be hanging in there scrapping probably, that he'll make a tough one for the Chiefs, and that it's gonna. And then when that happens, when you put against the wall someone with the kind of abilities and experience that Mahomes has and that Andy Reid has in that defense, I just tend to use logic and go towards the team with more going for them because they're fairly evenly matched teams. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to. I don't think I have a score for you so much as I just think the Chiefs are gonna find a way to pull it out and win this one. I think they have more going to them when the heat's on. I think they got more in terms of So if I had to pick a score, if I had to go for a score, I may go for something like 24-21, something like that, because I don't think it's going to be crazy outrageous scoring. I think these teams will hold each other, and that is a modern day fairly modest score as opposed to, in the old days when a low scoring game would be 13-10 or something.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And again, I wouldn't be surprised by much of anything, other than unless one team just got way out of control and destroyed the other.
No, I understand. But crazier things have happened, but
Yeah.
a lot of times crazy doesn't define a Super Bowl. But
Yeah.
Clobby, I want to thank you though, because I know.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. I got to
all
run.
your
But
time so much. Yeah, absolutely. You have a great show, and we'll be seeing you soon when we're done. But
All
have
right,
a great
buddy.
stream over there. Wild Card Wednesday with Clobbering Times.
thank you, man. Sci-Fi, good to see you again. And Woopah, good to see you. And JT,
You
buddy,
too.
Hey,
thank you.
Good to
Hey,
see you.
go Lions.
It was great hanging, yeah, buddy. And
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Mombie, best of wishes to your Chiefs.
Thank you.
And you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yep.
Good
Take
night,
care, Clobby.
Clobbering Times.
Later.
All right. So let's talk about the Super Bowl commercials for now. Stunning and Brave likes the one with the chick with the big hooters ate a cheeseburger buck naked. I don't think that happened. I think the Carl's Jr. was the closest one, wasn't it? With the very sensual cheeseburger.
They got in trouble for that. Wasn't it some singer?
No, I think it was like a
Britney
car wash or
Spears,
something.
but-
No,
I remember something like that.
It was the monster. It was the.
Mon-
wasn't she in the
yes.
car with the monster burger? And
Yes.
here it's for Hardee's.
yes, Hardee's are okay. I was thinking Carl's
Wasn't it
Jr.
Jessica
was.
Simpson? Like when she was Dukes of Hazzard?
Might have been something like that.
Gosh,
So-
it just sounds so familiar.
But what about you guys? What do y'all think? What were some of your favorite commercials over the years?
Betty White is still my favorite Snickers commercial
Oh
from the Super
gosh.
Bowl.
Okay. Yeah. Like your mom. I love when he shot that like your mom or something right on the field at the other guy, and then here have the Snickers. Oh, thank you. It's like that was. I loved her in that. She was, the Carl's Jr. one. Yeah, I know there's one with Jessica Simpson, but there was another one that was a different one that was not Jessica Simpson. That was more of a seductive type. So let's see. Let's try this search on that.
They're always trying to push the bar with those commercials, at least around here.
Well, and Geek Daddy. Remember the Geek Daddy commercials when they come at
GoDaddy?
The GoDaddy, Geek Daddy,
Yeah,
GoDaddy, yeah. Yes, exactly. I think I have the commercial right here. Let's see. There's one all natural burger. Yeah, it's Charlotte McKinney all natural burger.
Oh yeah.
That one. Then walking up to there and because she is naked because it's like the melons get strategically. Oh no, she's in a bathing suit and then she's standing there with the big burger. Yeah, the big monster burger. Okay, we found
I
it.
remember that one.
Yeah, it's actually a Carl's Jr. Yep, it was Carl's Jr. It was on the West Coast. So yeah, because West Coast of the U.S.
It played here, but it was under Hardee's because here in
Yep.
the Midwest, yeah. And
Yeah, we're like
it caused all kinds of stirs.
They're Hardee's down here too. So I don't know if it's exactly where the demarcation line is, but that's funny things with West and East differences. So Mark says that he watches the game with two friends who are in advertising, and he gets an expert analysis each year. Here's another good one: the Budweiser frogs. Budweiser. But what are some of you guys on the panel? What were some of the commercials that y'all liked?
Anytime I think of a Budweiser commercial, all I can think of is "What's up?"
I was going to
Oh.
say that commercial was my first one.
God, and that thing lasted forever. It's
Yes,
like the
it
next year they did a different one of it. I mean, that thing lasted for years and then finally sort of died away. And then still.
They've tried to replicate that with the Dilly Dilly campaign, and I don't think they quite hit it out of the park like they did with the WhatsApp thing.
Oh, Dilly Dilly. Oh, that Dilly Dilly, like the king in this court thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the beer commercials have always been good commercials in the Super Bowls. You know.
Well, you know what other beverage commercial I really liked over the years was the Mountain Dew, where they're skydiving with snowboards and they're like cruising around with the Canadian geese. And they're drinking Mountain Dew and it like refuels them to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older one, but I always liked that one. Plain, simple, got the message across.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
no, you know, the commercials, Dadman, that I like the best are the ones that preach a social message and they tell me what's wrong with me before I even realize it. And then they tell me, you know, how virtuous their product is. That lets me know which ones I should buy.
Right.
You know, and anytime
I'll tell you what,
guilty is a job well done. I want to buy the product now.
Yeah, yell at me and I'll buy your product. Yeah, I don't know. The electric car was the ones to get me, and I don't know. It's like the thought of it having an electric car just talk about somebody with an old house. It's like, do you know how much it costs me to have to go to all that stuff? It's just like, and what they're finding, like in South Florida where they had hurricanes and they flooded them, that you can't fight fires with them the same way. That, you know, it just, the fire departments have to be careful with a lot of them down there. They did after one of the recent hurricanes, but yeah, you know, and that's the thing with marketing. That's my thing with marketing. Bring everybody together, you know, have something fun, you know, bring them all together, you know, like I always loved I don't think it was necessarily a Super Bowl commercial, but the Miller Lite tastes great, less feeling. They yell at each other, but they still come together over their brews. One of the sweetest of all time that I know the missus cried when she saw was the and Budweiser's always been famous for the Clydesdale, but one of the commercials in the Super Bowl, I think it was the Super Bowl commercial after 9/11 when they had the tribute from the Clydesdales to New York, and it was like really a special commercial. So
yeah.
I mean, we got some that are serious that are good that touch base, but then I just Puppy Monkey Baby.
Puppy Monkey Baby.
Puppy Monkey Baby.
Or
Puppy Monkey Baby.
1010 220 had a baby, it's a boy. You remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was for so you didn't have to call collect, and the guy or the wife called her husband, or maybe it was the husband called the parents.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't want to pay for it, so the name on the collect was "Had a Baby, It's a Boy." I always loved that one.
No, wrong number, and then hung up. And what was it, dear? It's had a boy. You know. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They had a boy.
Sci-Fi or Mom, Woopah, do y'all have any commercials that y'all really liked that jumped out at you? I know Gorilla Man said another one, Mountain Dew Kickstart, along with frogs.
Go ahead. I'm trying to think of mine.
The one I always remember, I've forgotten a lot of these commercials, honestly. But I always just remember the one with where they had like it was like he just had a bowling ball, and like, why do you have a bowling ball? It's like, no, it's a magic. So it's it's a magic ball or whatever, it sees the future. And it's like, what the heck are you talking about? And the whole thing is, I think it's a Doritos commercial, and the whole thing is like they're having this whole conversation just standing in front of like a vending machine. And the other dude's like, what do you mean? It's just a bowling ball. Not magic at all. What are you talking about? And eventually they're just like, yeah, watch this. And like, Magic 8 Ball, will there be free Doritos in the office? And he just throws it into the vending machine and breaks. And everyone like starts crowding around to grab it. And they're like, looks like that's a yes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's very, very interesting. Well, what did you come up with something, Sci-Fi Mombie?
I always look forward to the upcoming movies, like what do they start showing? Stuff that's going to go into May, like the blockbusters that start off the summer movie season. That's what I always look forward to. I Slinky, you're going to get it.
Slinky's a cat, ladies and gentlemen.
Our cat, sorry.
Yeah.
our new kitten. He's ornery. I was kind of surprised that they went ahead and put out all the trailers for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Hmm.
I figured they would wait till the Super Bowl, but once that strike was over, man, they were rolling them out. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would have been a good time to unveil that one because I really want to see it now. Go ahead, Woopah.
no, I remember that. They've been releasing a bunch of these early now. Like it's the new thing
mhm.
to release these early. I don't know why exactly that is, but I mean they almost never. Because I already saw one, which was admittedly pretty funny, but like the Paramount Plus one, they already got it out. They already know what their commercial is going to be, which seems odd.
Are they advertising for more failed versions of not real Star Trek?
Actually, yes, that's pretty much
Yeah.
premise.
That's
Why does that not surprise me?
Because Discovery is dropping April 4th. I just saw that before we went live.
It's the final season to help put us out of all of our miseries with that show. Anyway, and they're rebooting Halo 2. So they're probably, or they're making Halo Season 2, not rebooting Halo 2.
think
So
it's,
they've-
I think
so
it's
they've-
going to be Reach, based on Reach from what I heard, maybe.
My
Yeah. So
they've
parents are
actually
not
come
happy with
through-
that show.
Everyone I know ticked off.
So they've actually come out and done those. Oh wow.
Mhm.
Well, it will be interesting, but to see what they actually come out with this year. But 20. Here, I found an article from Time Magazine. 25 Super Bowl ads. Number 25, believe it or not, was Apple from 1984.
Really?
The Apple 1984 ad. It was directed by Ridley Scott. So it broke more.
Well, when you have that kind of horsepower behind it, it better be good.
It was considered the first Super Bowl ad that was more than a 30-second jingle, more like a short film. So, 24, Wendy's, where's the beef? 23, this would have been a good one to have Clobby around with. Hey, kid, catch the Mean Joe Green jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Showdown McDonald's was the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, nothing but net one. So, 21st is What's Up?
Oh, yeah.
That only came in at 21.
21,
Really?
Yep. 20, Volkswagen, The Force.
Oh, with the guy in all white. You remember that?
Yep.
And they were being really creepy.
Yep.
Yeah.
19, Respect, which was the one I mentioned about paid tribute to the victims after the 9/11. Pepsi, 18, Cindy Crawford, that one. Old Spice, the man you could smell like. Noxzema was 16 with Farrah Fawcett and Joe Namath. 15th was the Budweiser Frogs, as we heard about mentioned also. 14 was a Britney Spears one. Budweiser. Always Like a Girl. I don't remember this one though, but it was.
Is that a Pepsi commercial?
No, I think it was. It was an Always as a feminine care product, I think. So yeah, it was. It doesn't show me the pictures; it blocked them. But E-Trade Wasted. You have some of those E-Trades. You know, Nike, Michael Jordan, and Bugs Bunny. You had number 10 was a pets.com. And No More Listen. Chrysler featuring Clint Eastwood, Halftime in America. That was in 2012. Number 7, Beyonce Formation World Tour. 6, Doritos Live the Flavor. 5, Pepsi Delivery Guys. 4, Chrysler imported from Detroit.
Oh, that was when they were bought out by Daimler, and they launched the the Chrysler 300.
Yep.
About like 15 years ago now, something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't that the
That
one
was
being
right
driven
after the
around by Eminem?
bankruptcies and the housing collapse and all that. They were really trying to get business back. And yeah.
Number 3, Monster.com kids. The first place to find a job online. 1999 Super Bowl ad. Used kids to exploit adults' feelings of dissatisfaction. Number 2, Puppy Love.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. And then number 1 was the Snickers Betty White ad. So, yeah, the Force is the VW1. The kid dressed as Vader. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I love that
And
one.
hail Betty
That's
Hepburn.
so cute.
I didn't
Buddy
see you
Hepburn.
walk
Good
in.
to see you too. So, all
That
right.
is a
Well,
cute
that's
one, buddy.
yes. Yeah. So that's it with commercials. We've had some great commercials with it. So we'll go ahead and start to wrap up our show now. But we'll go with our predictions. JT, why don't you go first? How do you see the game going here? We got Clobby's pick of Kansas City 24-21.
Both teams are pretty evenly matched and similar. I think that -2 really says, hey, even Vegas doesn't really feel confident to pick a winner right now. I think Mahomes being the leader and the veteran in this situation is going to bring the edge. And I just don't really care for the 49ers. So I'm going to be a Swiftie. Go Swifties.
What? Just kidding.
All right. What's your score with it?
I was waiting for you to say the Lions. I really
Oh,
was.
yeah, the Lions. I think what was the over-under?
I
You said,
don't. It's favored by 2, I think.
yeah, but wasn't it like 47 points
47
or something?
and a half. 47 and a half. Yeah. The over
I don't think they're going to make that. I think it's going to be 21-17.
Okay. Kansas City. Woopah Troopah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the 49ers on this one. I think outside of 2 positions, I feel like the 49ers have the advantage in every spot. In my infinite wisdom as presidential candidate, Woopah Troopah, I did originally pick the 49ers to win in not preseason, but pre-playoffs. So I'm sticking with it. It's worked out so far. I mean, really, the biggest quote-unquote weakness on the 49ers team was that you didn't know what Brock Purdy really was, and now, he's always pretty much had a great team and been playing ahead, and now he's proved himself back-to-back come-from-behind victories and no small feats at that. And I just think overall that team, I mean, that 49ers offensive line, especially with Trent Williams, is amazing. CMC is the best running back in the league. You got a pretty good wide receiver core. George Kittle, he might not be better at catching than Kelsey, but he's pretty much a 6th offensive lineman out there. The dude's ridiculous. But then, on the defensive side, their secondary isn't the best, but you got Fred Warner, who might be best linebacker right now, and then you've got the defensive line. What is that? I mean, they still have I don't remember. They got Armstead, they've got Bosa, they've got Chase Young. I mean, that's a ridiculous front unit. So it's just I think it'd be hard to overcome outside of that 3-game stretch where they had a lot of injuries. 49ers have pretty much handled business, and I don't see why I should expect them to stop.
Okay. All right. And what's your score again on that?
Let's go 27-21.
All right, 27-21. SciFi Mombie, you're on the stage. It's your time. Glorify it. Gorilla Man says Chiefs take it 28-24. All right, so what say you, SciFi Mombie?
Oh, I'm going Chiefs all the way, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see, score-wise. Ooh. I think I'm going to go with my hubby and say 28-24.
All right, 28-24 for SciFi Mombie. Bringing home a 3rd ring for Patrick Mahomes and to you great people of Missouri. So, Woopah, are you emotionally pulling for Kansas City, or do you care about that side of the state?
No, Yeah, I'm kind of tired of Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
So, plus there was some beef this year with the soccer teams. So, yeah.
Well, I am going to say
Kansas City soccer teams.
I am going to say this. I am going to take national NFC pride, San Francisco, but only by a 17-16 margin. We're going to really go low. Old
1
school,
point
old
victory.
score. Yep. Probably one of the last minute miracles type games again, and we come down to the end. So that's it. Clobby has Kansas City 24-21. JT Kirk has Kansas City 21-17. SciFi Woopah Troopah has San Francisco 27-21. SciFi Mombie KC 28-24. And I have San Francisco 17-16. So that's it. So we'll see what happens when we come back next week, and we will try to meet next Wednesday night again, review the Super Bowl, talk more about what happened, what our thoughts and observations were, and then we'll maybe talk about what's going to happen down the road. But guys, thank you. It's been a great playoff run with all of you guys.
Likewise.
Let's go Battlehawks.
Yay! And the UFL.
Exactly.
When does the UFL start?
March 30th.
All right. We'll see.
The Battlehawks are going to be taking on the Michigan Panthers.
All right. See, we got a rivalry right here on the panel already.
Yes.
Yes. Well, folks,
and it's a home game. It's a home game for me.
For you?
So
yep.
Maybe I should do sideline coverage or something. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, maybe if you want to. It's only $20 here. Well, Gorilla Man, it's a pleasure to welcome you. I try to welcome everybody when I know that they are new subs. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you for allowing, for being here, allowing us to have you with your time. And SciFi Mombie has been a great addition to this group, and JT and Woopah for everything else y'all have done with me. And we look forward to doing a little bit more in the future. But with that, this will be my last stream. I will have a stream. I'm going to be supposed to be a guest on something tomorrow night. We have Buck Rogers on Friday night, but I probably will not be streaming again until Tuesday night due to some family business, unless I do remote from a phone. But, just your thoughts and stuff with our family and stuff, and please appreciate it. And the missus is good, and we'll do things, and appreciate all your support. Take a few days off, do some things I got to do, and you guys rock. And I want to come back, and I want to thank everybody that's in the chat and a great panelists here. Couldn't do it without you guys. So with that being said, thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the support. And we will catch you next Wednesday night with this. But if not, we want to see you Friday night for Buck Rogers. Bye, everybody.